My name is Adam, and like many others, I was drawn to the forbidden allure of the dark web. I stumbled upon an encrypted site with a peculiar name, the Cursed Auction. Curiosity got the better of me, and I clicked on the link, unaware of the horrors that awaited. The website had a minimalistic design, but its content was chilling. It claimed to host auctions for cursed objects with malevolent histories. Skeptical yet intrigued, I scrolled through the listings, each item accompanied by spine-chilling tales of misfortune and terror. One item in particular caught my eye, a vintage porcelain doll with a twisted smile. The description told of a haunted child's plaything, responsible for inexplicable accidents and mysterious disappearances. A shiver ran down my spine, but an inexplicable fascination gripped me, urging me to know more. The auction had started, and the bids were rapidly increasing. Against my better judgment, I clicked the place bid button. Moments later, an anonymous user outbid me. Frustration mixed with relief, but my curiosity refused to relent. I had to win that doll. I placed another bid, determined to be the highest bidder. The clock ticked down, and the tension built. As the seconds waned, the website seemed to glitch, flickering in and out of reality. Finally, with a pounding heart, I won the auction. Within days, a package arrived at my doorstep, the contents concealed in brown paper. Excitement mingled with fear as I tore open the wrapping, revealing the cursed doll in all its unsettling glory. Its painted eyes seemed to bore into my soul, and I couldn't help but feel watched. I found an old glass cabinet in which to display the cursed doll, hoping to contain any potential malevolence. But my nights became plagued with vivid nightmares. Horrific visions of the doll moving on its own, its porcelain fingers caressing my face as I slept. My waking hours weren't any better. Objects would mysteriously go missing, only to turn up in unexpected places. Shadows seemed to dart across walls, and whispers echoed through the halls of my home. The cursed doll's unsettling grin haunted my thoughts day and night. Desperate for answers, I returned to the dark web, seeking help from a user named Occult Seeker. They claimed to be knowledgeable about cursed objects and their origins. In a private chat, they explained that the doll's dark history involved a vengeful spirit, wronged in life and seeking revenge through the vessel of the doll. Occult Seeker warned me that the doll was a dangerous entity, and I needed to return it to its place of origin to break the curse. The thought of facing the malevolent spirit filled me with dread, but I knew I had no choice if I wanted to be free of the haunting. Guided by the cryptic instructions from Occult Seeker, I embarked on a journey to an abandoned house in a desolate part of town. The house had an ominous aura, and the air felt thick with malevolence. I could hear faint whispers, urging me to leave, but I pressed on. In the house's attic, I found a decrepit chest covered in dust and cobwebs. Inside, a collection of aged letters revealed the tragic tale of the cursed doll. A young girl named Abigail, betrayed and abandoned, had once owned the doll. Her spirit, unable to rest, was trapped within the porcelain figure. With trembling hands, I placed the cursed doll inside the chest, intending to return it to its original owner. But as I turned to leave, the door slammed shut, trapping me inside the attic. Panic surged through me as the temperature plummeted, and Abigail's tormented spirit materialized before my eyes. Her hollow eyes fixated on mine, filled with anguish and rage. She blamed me for disturbing her eternal slumber and vowed to make me suffer as she had. The walls seemed to close in, and the air grew thin. The attic became a suffocating nightmare, and I could feel Abigail's malevolence seeping into my very soul. Summoning every ounce of courage, I read aloud the letters I found, apologizing to Abigail for the wrongs committed against her. As I spoke, her spirit began to flicker, torn between her desire for vengeance and her longing for peace. In a final act of desperation, I made a solemn promise to help Abigail find closure and lay her spirit to rest. Slowly, her rage subsided, and the temperature in the attic returned to normal. The door creaked open, allowing me to escape the malevolent presence. After that night, my home became peaceful once more. The cursed doll was gone, and Abigail's spirit seemed to have found some semblance of peace. But the experience left me forever changed, and the memory of the dark web's cursed auction will forever haunt me, a reminder of the dangers lurking in the shadows. I had always been fascinated by the darker side of the internet, so when I first heard about the infamous deep web from a close friend, I couldn't resist delving deeper. The whispers spoke of a hidden realm beneath the already dark underbelly of the deep web, a place where unspeakable horrors lurked, and sanity was but a fragile thread. Late one night, curiosity got the better of me. Armed with a virtual private network and layers of encrypted protection, I ventured into the depths of the deep web, following the cryptic directions that led me to the entrance of deep web. The website's design was sinister, adorned with eerie symbols and ominous text that seemed to seep into my subconscious. Ignoring the warning signs, I clicked on a link that promised access to the most disturbing content imaginable. The screen flickered, and I found myself on a webpage with a single line of text. "Welcome, Seeker of Darkness." The page gradually filled with a list of twisted, nightmarish stories, each one more unsettling than the last. One entry titled, "The Cursed Portrait," caught my attention, and I clicked on it, my heart pounding with anticipation and dread. The story began with a chilling account of an artist who had gone mad while painting a portrait of a mysterious woman. The woman in the painting had an otherworldly beauty, but her eyes were hollow and soulless, as if they could peer into the depths of your very being. As I read on, I felt a presence behind me, a shadowy figure looming in the dimly lit room. I turned around, but there was nothing there. My heart raced, and I tried to shake off the feeling of being watched, chalking it up to an overactive imagination. The story continued, recounting how the cursed portrait seemed to have a malevolent aura. People who gazed upon it reported suffering from inexplicable nightmares, waking up in cold sweats, haunted by the haunting eyes of the woman in the painting. Some even claimed to have seen her move, as if she were trying to escape the confines of the canvas. I couldn't help but glance at the dark corner of my room, half expecting to see the cursed portrait materialize there. I shook my head, trying to rationalize my fear, reminding myself that this was just a story, nothing more. But then, a strange message appeared on the screen, as if the website itself was taunting me. "Do you wish to see her?" My heart thudded loudly in my chest, and a voice inside me screamed to leave the website immediately, but morbid curiosity won over, and against my better judgment I replied, "Yes." The screen flickered, and an image materialized before my eyes. It was the cursed portrait. The woman's hollow eyes bore into my soul, her expression twisted with a malevolent smirk. I tried to look away, but an unseen force held my gaze, trapping me in her haunting stare. Suddenly the room grew cold, and I felt a presence behind me once again. I couldn't move, paralyzed with terror. A whisper filled the air, faint yet insidious, as if the woman in the portrait had come to life. "Free me," the voice murmured, sending shivers down my spine. "Release me from this prison." My mind raced, trying to comprehend the impossible. Was this some elaborate prank? Or had I stumbled upon something truly malevolent? A strong gust of wind swept through the room, knocking over objects and extinguishing the candles I had lit earlier. Panic took hold of me, and I frantically tried to close the browser, but the website seemed to resist my every attempt. Desperation consumed me, and I reached for the power cable of my computer, deciding to shut it down forcibly. Just as my hand touched the cable, a pale hand emerged from the cursed portrait, reaching out towards me. In terror, I yanked the power cable and the room plunged into darkness. The hand retreated and the haunting whispers subsided. I sat there, trembling, not daring to move for what felt like an eternity. When I finally mustered the courage to turn on the lights, I found myself back on the homepage of Deep Web. The cursed portrait was gone, and the list of stories had vanished. Shaken to my core, I shut down my computer and vowed never to return to Deep Web. But the image of the woman in the portrait, her hollow eyes forever etched into my memory, haunted my dreams every night. My name is Mark, and I've always been intrigued by the supernatural. On the dark web, I stumbled upon a mysterious forum called the Occult Nexus, where users shared their encounters with the paranormal. Eager to experience something otherworldly, I found a thread about a cursed mirror, an object said to be a gateway to the unknown. The post warned that it wasn't a game, and that once you looked into the mirror, there was no turning back. Curiosity overwhelmed my caution, and I decided to procure the mirror. It arrived in a plain package with no return address. The moment I unwrapped it, I felt an unsettling energy emanating from the glass. It was an ornate, antique mirror with intricate carvings that seemed to writhe like snakes. I had a sense of foreboding, but my curiosity pushed me forward. The mirror found its place on the wall of my study. Every time I passed by, it felt like the reflection staring back at me was different, more sinister. As days went by, my dreams became plagued with visions of a shadowy figure beckoning me from within the mirror. Its ghostly hands reached out, trying to pull me into the glass. I was losing sleep, and my mind felt like it was unraveling. One night, unable to resist any longer, I approached the mirror and whispered, "What do you want?" As I spoke, the reflection shifted, revealing a dark, twisting hallway lined with doors. An eerie voice echoed from the depths of the mirror, inviting me to enter. I hesitated, but an irresistible force drew me in. Stepping through the threshold, I found myself in a chilling dimension, a nightmarish reflection of my own reality. Each door beckoned me, offering glimpses of my past, present, and potential future. I felt like a trespasser in my own life, an intruder in the sacred halls of fate. I opened one door to find myself as a child, laughing and playing with friends in the park. Another door revealed a grim image of myself, alone and haunted by tragedy. A future door depicted a twisted, nightmarish version of myself, consumed by malevolence and darkness. Each scene filled me with dread and left me questioning my very existence. Lost and terrified, I searched for a way out, but the doors seemed endless, and the hallway stretched on forever. The mirror's voice echoed, taunting me with its promises of knowledge and power. It knew my deepest desires and fears, using them against me. Days turned into weeks, and I felt myself slipping away from reality. The mirror was no longer just an object. It was a malevolent force, feeding off my fears and insecurities. I knew I had to escape, but the mirror held me captive, its reflections trapping me in a cycle of torment. In my desperate search for answers, I returned to the occult nexus, seeking advice from those who had encountered the cursed mirror before. A user named Seeker of Truth reached out, warning me that the mirror was an ancient artifact tied to a malevolent entity. To break free from the mirror's grasp, I needed to confront my fears head-on. Seeker of Truth guided me through a ritual involving candles, incantations, and a sacrificial offering. It was my only hope of regaining control over my life. With trembling hands, I followed the instructions and recited the incantation. The air crackled with energy, and the reflection in the mirror contorted in rage. The entity within fought back, determined to keep its hold on me. In a desperate act of defiance, I smashed the sacrificial offering, releasing a burst of blinding light. The mirror shook violently, and I felt a surge of power rush through me. The malevolent entity screamed, its grip weakening. With one final effort, I hurled the broken offering into the mirror, shattering the glass and dispersing the entity's hold. The hallway of doors collapsed into nothingness, and I was back in my study, the cursed mirror reduced to shards. Exhausted but victorious, I knew the battle was far from over. The malevolent entity might still lurk in the shadows, seeking another vessel. I sealed the broken mirror in a box and hid it away, hoping to keep it from harming others, but the experience left scars, both visible and hidden. I knew that I could never fully escape the horrors I had witnessed, and the dark web's sinister secrets would forever haunt me. The mirror's reflection was a reminder that some mysteries were best left unsolved, for the price of knowledge might be too high, a piece of your soul lost to the darkness.